second episode here. I'm Aaron Shack64. This is Real Space T.
This is
I was gonna give you a thing to talk. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I was gonna give you a chance to chime
the
in.
realist of spaces.
The realist. That hair. Oh my God, look at the hair. It's untamed today.
Gotta love the awkward silence.
Yes. Okay, so we got a number of things we want to talk about today, right?
Uh-huh.
We got different games that have come out the past couple of weeks, some impressions on some stuff. Let's see, why don't we start with the easy stuff? Let's start with Destiny. What has changed in the 2 or 3 weeks since we've been live?
Cool. Well, it's been like 3 weeks now.
I think so.
I think it's been like a couple of weeks. No, it's been, it's been about 3 weeks since we did the last one.
Mm-hmm.
So there's been a lot of stuff. Heroic Menagerie, Lumina, Iron Banner came around.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of different stuff to cover. Don't know what you wanna start with first. Anything that
Let's do the Lumina, because that's kind of interesting. What do we think of that quest?
Loving it. Well, loving the weapon.
Yes.
Quest wasn't too bad. Quest was pretty good.
It was pretty lengthy. I'll say it's a lengthy quest.
Yeah, it's
not a
lengthy.
hard one, but pretty lengthy.
Yeah.
What's up, Glenn?
Questline was pretty okay.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I realized when, funnily enough, hello Glenn, who I was playing with last night, I actually realized that because there is quest steps that give you more progress if other people that you're doing strikes with have rose equipped as well. But obviously, once people start getting that weapon, you're going to have less people using rose and strikes. So it's going to be slower if you don't have friends around to help you out. That's
I think
my
so.
only gripe with the quest line. But apart from that, it wasn't too bad. No annoying Crucible quest steps that set you back and stuff.
And it does have to be rose, because I thought I could use Lumina and help people, and it doesn't count. And
no.
But that's okay, because rose is a great hand cannon. Like, on its
I
own.
would say it's worth it. I remember reading something that said it was like an average hand cannon, but for me, it's definitely one of, if not my favorite exotic hand cannon in the game right now. So
yeah,
definitely worth it. Real space proved.
Absolutely. I guess one of the other catchphrases that they kind of used with it was you have to do a lot of stuff and then like some PvP to get a PvE weapon, essentially. Because unless you're just a boss in the Crucible and you're killing lots of people to get the noble rounds, which the noble rounds are the rounds that track and heal people, which you fire from the hip. It's kind of a gun like I don't see myself unless I do really well in Crucible at some point. I don't see myself like. I thought I was going to be healing my teammates in Crucible, and I was like, nope, I don't think I'm going to be doing much of that. Like, you got to really stack up a lot of kills, and it's very different. But PvE-wise, it was good. I did use it during the raid when we were doing Crown of Sorrows, especially at the beginning part. And I found that every time I had a healing round and wanted to aim it at something, the group was so tight together that even though I was trying to fire from the hip and make sure it went to that person, it was kind of just looping around going to just whoever, which kind of worked because I had like 5 noble rounds anyway, which is the max. And I was just like, okay, well, I guess I'll just heal everybody and then it won't be a problem. I don't know.
Yeah, because you're going to be really accurate. When you're firing from the hip, because I think you were saying like you thought it was like maybe it prefers people who are in your fire team, but I think it's just literally unless you're aiming really close to them, I found that most of the time it just misses.
Yes.
Like if they're pretty close and you aim off a little bit to the side, sometimes it'll go.
It's generous if they're close, but if they're far,
it will just like fly straight in.
Yeah.
But there's been some times when like there was someone who was at quite a distance and like I was doing like I think like a heroic public event or something, and I tried shooting one off to someone, and they kind of went off to the side a bit, and it kind of just flew straight past them. So it can be a little bit annoying trying to land those shots, but it's cool. And I like the fact that it's basically the same premise as Thorn in the sense that you get kills, you get the remnants, which refill the magazine. And so the shot's doing more damage over time. You're healing them, giving back a portion of their health, but then also damage buffing them for a little while as well, which is cool. And I still need to do some testing on exactly how much it boosts, but from the little bit of testing I did, it seems like it almost doubles the amount of precision damage from what I saw. Because I got a headshot, and then I shot my noble round at someone, and it not only does it give them the buff, but it gives you the buff as well. And then when I got another headshot, it was almost double the number that popped up. So obviously, I still need to do some more testing, but
yeah,
it's cool because you can heal and you can also damage buff. So like if you're in a situation where your team needs to do more damage, if you have those 5 noble rounds, if you're in a raid or something, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, damage buff everyone on the team for however many seconds it lasts for.
I feel like 5 is a very good number, especially that you mentioned raids. Like that pretty much allows you to buff everybody.
Because I think in activities there's the max is always 6, right? And then minus you, it's 5. So I get why it's 5 because then you get 1 for each person.
Yeah.
So there's definitely going to be situations where it's going to be useful. But I definitely love using it. It's a nice hand cannon.
It feels good. It looks good.
Yeah.
The recoil is really good, nice and predictable. I mean, I'm lining up the headshots, no problem. It's been great.
Yeah, great weapon.
Okay,
definitely worth getting.
So
sure.
We've got that. That's very key.
And one other thing as well, actually, I know it's a weapon that's been out for a while, but when I was raiding with yourself and everyone else, we have a little raid team that we've been playing with for a while, and yeah, that's been fun. And we did Scourge of the Past first run, and I was lucky enough to get Anarchy, which is absolutely amazing. If you have people and you're able to do a raid and you haven't done Scourge of the Past yet, Anarchy is amazing, definitely worth.
So tell us a little bit about what Anarchy does.
So basically, it's a grenade launcher, but the projectiles that it launches out are like little, they're almost kind of like little stake things that it launches out that go into the ground or a wall or an enemy. And then when you launch another one, it chains like arc lightning between the two projectiles.
Right.
So like you can almost set up like a trip wire thing. So if you've got like thralls running towards you, for example, you can run down the corridor, turn around, put like 2 projectiles down on either side by the walls or on the walls, and then all those thralls that come through that arc damage is going to get fried.
So it's not necessarily about hitting the target. Sometimes you can create traps.
Yeah. Well, if you hit like a powerful enemy or a boss with a couple of projectiles, they're going to be constantly taking arc damage because the projectiles are both stuck to them. So that seems to be really good for taking out bosses as well. Put a couple of projectiles on and just wait as they just die. So it's definitely a fun weapon to use for sure.
Naza, thank you for that sub there. Welcome, Guardian. Your light is strong. We're here with the...
Weapon has been out for a while, but just got my hands on it, and it is a lot of fun.
It's so cool. I really want us to run that raid again, see if more of us can grab that one. That and Last Wish. Last Wish was really cool. We did a little bit of that this week. We did the final boss encounter. Fill space with the host. I need to bring the alerts through. I'll do that next time. I'll put a little thing where the alerts pop up. Yeah. So Last Wish was really cool. Like the way, I guess without spoiling it, but the way it ends is really cool. I think that was such a cool twist. Like you don't just kill the boss and open a chest. Like some other stuff happens. Those of you who know what I'm talking about. I think that was really fun. I really wanted to play that more.
Yeah.
And I want to see what the rest of the raid's about, since I've only played bits and pieces of Last Wish. But that's my favorite so far. But Scourge was really cool and very easy. I feel like it was, like, now that we know what to do, like, I feel like we could just run through it now.
Yeah, definitely.
That we have strats for each of the sections, and everybody kind of knows their role. Like, even after one go through, it reminds me of Wrath of the Machine, because Wrath of the Machine was very similar. It was on Earth, and it was against the Fallen, and like the way people described that raid, it was the last raid in Destiny 1, was it was basically more of a shooting gallery than a puzzle thing. It was more about just huddling together and just killing everything, managing the ads, controlling stuff like that, than it was about, like, Vault of Glass was all these puzzles, and Crota was this big epic boss fight. I don't know, there's something different, and so Scourge kind of calls back to Wrath of the Machine, I feel. But that was really cool for me.
Cool. Nice.
So yeah, we talked about Anarchy, we talked about Lumina. Lumina's really cool. Heroic Menagerie is live. I haven't tried it. I don't think you've tried it. Have you?
Not yet. I'm hoping we can get in at some point, because
we need to.
There's that Iznoki's Burden Catalyst, which I really want to get my hands on. And yeah, so hopefully we can get on that at some point, but not had a chance yet.
And 0 Hour. Yeah, 0 Hour
For
is
sure.
another
we still
thing.
need to get on that as well.
We haven't jumped into that, but
get that Catalyst as well.
We're all right around that 750 range, so maybe that'll make it a little more doable. But having replayed Whisper this week, doesn't matter what level you are in some of those activities. So I think 0 Hour might be the same way, where it's like, it's still gonna be hard. It's not gonna be some little walkthrough thing.
Yeah, but I mean, like, that Catalyst would be worth it, because I mean, Outbreak's already
absolutely
really good weapon. So
dude, and if we got that for
Scourge, the number of nanites we can get or something, or like more damage or something.
Yes,
I forget exactly what.
I think it's like more nanites and more damage from them, which is
cool.
Yeah, that'd be great. We got a question here from Glenn. Since we all have it now and Real Space had some time, Super Mario Maker 2, what are your thoughts?
Well, we are going to move on to that.
Okay.
That is part of the plan. I don't know if we want to move on to that now.
It's up to you, yeah.
It seems like a good point to kind of segue into that. I mean, let's wrap up with the Destiny stuff, because there is a couple of things, obviously, we haven't talked about. That we had Iron Banner a couple of weeks ago, I think it was. Was it a couple of weeks ago? Was it last week?
And the Iron Banner quest, right? To get some sort of year one armor callback thing.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
So that was cool, and obviously they've changed it now, so you don't get armor through drops. It's in its actual quest line. I didn't play that too much, so I can't really comment on it.
Same.
But I've heard kind of mixed things. Most people saying it's kind of it's grindy and it's not that great or something. But
the grenade kills.
I can't comment. But
you need like hundreds of grenade kills, and that's super grindy. Granted, it counts for the whole team, but that's difficult when it's like a very specific thing like that, and it can be hard depending on the game mode and the team and all that kind of stuff.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's everything.
Okay.
I'm just trying to think. Did the Truth Quest come out after we did the first podcast, or did we cover that?
I think it did.
Time?
I think it did come out after.
But
yeah. The Truth Quest I really liked. I think it was good. It was.
Yeah.
There's some tough parts, but I didn't think it was unreasonable, I guess. The Nightfall stuff was grindy, and trying to get all those kills, and it was weird. So I figured out how that step worked. There's that one step where it's like you need to kill things in Nightfalls, and we tried doing the hollowed layer because we knew that there were lots of enemies at the end, right? Well, it turns out that there's really just a cap. There's just a hard cap over kills that you can get with the rocket launcher for that quest step. So every time you load up the
okay.
Nightfall, I don't know what the number was, but let's say it's like 10, and it's like you can keep shooting rockets at enemies and getting kills. It just stops at a certain point, and it's like,
Right.
haha, you got to play the Nightfall again and get more kills. So
Yeah.
it makes it to where you do have to do that certain number of Nightfalls and be getting that certain number of rocket kills. And we were like, is it direct hits? Can the cluster
This
bombs
quest step is
count?
bugged.
Yeah, it's bugged, but it's really, no, it's just limited, and it's just forcing you to do it, I guess.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much been everything that's happened in Destiny, or stuff that's worth talking about, I guess.
Absolutely.
Also worth noting that if you have still got stuff to get from the menagerie, if you do want to use the chest exploit, you only have until tomorrow.
Oh shoot!
Because come next weekly reset, they are fixing it so you can only do one chest opening per menagerie run. So if you want to get everything,
The god
get those
roll.
rolls, and you want to abuse that for a little bit while longer,
Yes.
you've only got till tomorrow. So if you're in the UK, that will be 6 p.m. 6 p.m. BST.
That's like 22 hours from now, something like that.
Something, yeah.
Yeah.
Just over
Roughly.
22 hours from now. So
Set your clocks.
if you've got time, make sure you get on that before they fix it. Otherwise, it's going to take a lot longer. And also worth noting that it's worth it to get the Imperials from, because obviously to get your Iznagi's Burden catalyst, if you want to get that, if you have Iznagi's Burden, you do need to complete a heroic run in the menagerie with a perfected chalice. So if you do want to get that perfected chalice, now is the time to get those Imperial drops and complete your chalice.
Absolutely.
Because it's going to get a lot harder.
So what are some recommendations of some guns that, what are your picks, like, for menagerie? Like, yeah, you gotta get these before time runs out. What are we looking for?
Obviously, top all-stringer, obviously, great all-round hand cannon.
Yeah.
Couple of good rolls. I got a subsistence and rampage, which I've been using for PvE. The only downside to that is it limits the amount of hand cannon ammo that you can carry, but get some armor with hand cannon reserves and stuff, and maybe primary ammo finder and stuff, and you should be okay. You should be pretty good. That's a pretty good roll. Obviously, if you don't think you can deal with that, outlaw and rampage is always a good roll as well. If you're getting those headshots, which with hand cannons is the thing you're going to be doing anyway.
Yeah.
PvP side of things, the one I've been using, I actually the two roles I've been using were actually recommended in a YouTube video that I watched, and apparently the good PvP role to get, which I've been using, which has been really good, is Eye of the Storm and Rangefinder. So Rangefinder obviously giving you that extra range, and Eye of the Storm meaning that you do, I think it's more damage and stability, that kind of thing. Maybe one or both, I'm not entirely sure, I can't really remember. But it gives you a boost to certain stats when your when your health is low. Okay. So if you're taking damage when you're close to dying, you're going to get that boost to maybe stability or damage or whatever it is. So that's helpful. And obviously in PvP, range is really important.
Yeah.
So, and I can't remember, but I think I've got it masterwork for range as well. So yeah, the range on that thing can get pretty crazy. So those are some good rolls. And obviously there are other combinations, but those would be the ones I would recommend. And sorry.
So the Callus Mini tool, I have a really good roll for that. I think it's
definitely
the dynamic sway thing where it's like your firing gets steadier over time. I got that combined with Feeding Frenzy, which is, you just reload like a fanatic. after you get a kill. And like that just the gun's already steady and it's great for close to mid-range encounters for the most part. And I think I did that and I got like 5 or 10 of those. I hit it so hard because it was like the only gun I could craft at the beginning.
Yeah.
And so I got like a bazillion mini tools and I was like, okay, here's what I want. And the Drang, so I guess for the Drang we have a nice roll for that, right? Full auto. Definitely. And I forget.
Full auto Rampage.
Yeah, and Rampage.
I was lucky enough to get that on my second.
If you can get full auto, oh my god, that gun is.
I mean, going back to the mini tool as well. Obviously, it's designed to be used with the multi tool, but I mean, just as an all-round good SMG, just using it on its own is also a great pick.
Absolutely, and disruption break, where you break the shields and then switch to your kinetic, do more damage. That's a good perk for that one too.
Yeah, I think. I can't remember what the second perk is that I have, but I know the one that I've been using quite a bit has threat detector on it, which is, in my opinion, good for like anything that's going to be close range, so like SMGs and shotguns primarily.
Absolutely.
Because if you've got enemies in close proximity, then it boosts your stability and your reload speed and stuff like that. So definitely worth it. So yeah, 1 second.
Okay. I haven't really gotten a good roll for the shotgun yet. So I can't really comment much on the shotgun other than I'm a really big fan of Parcel of Stardust, which is the Gambit shotgun. And I have a good roll. I think it's like full auto and something else, and then I have like another roll that has outlaw and stuff like that. So I can't really comment on that. And same for I was just saying the shotgun and the fusion rifle I don't have great rolls for. And so I'm not impressed with the shotgun so far. But the fusion rifle, I don't have a great roll, but I'm really impressed. And I know that if I get a better roll for the fusion rifle, I'd be really excited.
All right. So what did I miss just now? So shotgun, fusion rifle.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on those? Because I'm not liking the shotgun, but I don't have a good roll, so that could be a thing.
Well. Just to get back to Drang as well, full auto and Rampage definitely worth it because obviously normal Drang only comes with 1 perk Rampage, and full auto on anything is usually good. But primarily, I'd say pulse rifles and sidearms and stuff like that. And on shotguns it's cool as well, but then you get rapid fire frame on shotgun, so that's usually the thing that you always get on shotguns. But definitely. Definitely those weapons, it's worth it. So, and the Drang that I've been using, the Drang Baroque with full auto and Rampage, has definitely been cool. Because I mean, instead of having to left click every time you want to shoot, just hold it down, and it's just I've been saying to Aaron, it's basically like having a little auto rifle in your hands. It basically fires like an auto rifle. It's really cool.
And that's what's good about the Drang is the more rounds you sink in and the faster they are, I mean, like you can just shred things. And that was something about the original Drang that people really liked in multiplayer, and they would just have to click rapidly. What they would have to do. And that could be hard, but it was worth it.
Cool. But yeah, shotgun and fusion rifle. Shotgun I haven't used too much. I got a pretty interesting roll. I'm trying to think what it was. I'll have to check. But I got a pretty interesting roll. I haven't used it too much yet, so I'm not entirely sure how I feel about it. But it's an okay shotgun. I've seen some people using it in PvP, but I'm not sure that it's. I mean, if you want to get all the weapons, there is a triumph for getting each of the menagerie weapons.
Yes, worth it, which you should be working on if you can before Tuesday.
Shotgun's okay. Obviously, it's going to get outclassed by like the Ikelos shotgun or like Wishbringer. Any shotgun that's rapid fire frame.
Parcel of Stardust for me is really the king.
Yeah, that's a great shotgun as well. But I think top shotguns are always going to be those ones, but with rapid fire frame.
Oh yeah, easily.
So yeah, fusion rifle.
Yeah,
it's pretty good. The roll that I've been using, I got one with backup plan. I think it's backup plan and snapshot sights. So it's quite fast, especially when you switch to it, because snapshot sights obviously I can aim down sights faster, but also with backup plan, if I switch to it for a few seconds, I get faster charge time, which is helpful because a lot of the time I'm going to be using it to break shields.
Yeah.
So
you just need it for that one quick use. Yeah.
Yeah. So I switch to it. A couple of bursts, really fast. Shields down, switch back.
Yeah.
It's great for that. So I
that's
definitely
a good
recommend
perk.
trying to get one with backup plan on it.
Okay.
Because I a little while afterwards as well, I got Tekken Force from the secret chests on the Last Wish raid that we were doing. But I think pretty much the Epicurean pretty much outclassed it in a lot of the stats.
Yeah.
So it's definitely worth getting.
It is.
For sure. Sniper rifle is a must, by the way, as well. Sniper rifle is a must.
Might be one of the best in the game, since you can control your role that you get and try to pick the perks as best you can.
So I've got it. My one's really quick as well. I got snapshot sights. Definitely recommend getting it with snapshot sights if you want to use it for PvP. I think the one I got is Masterwork for reload speed. I'm not entirely sure. I think it's reload speed.
Yeah.
So I get fast reload, snapshot sights, aim down sights really fast. And I can't remember what else I had on it. But if you have a look through the perks, because you can have a look on websites like I think like GG or whatever.
Yeah.
And see all the perks you can get on it and stuff. I'm just trying to think what the other perk is that I had on the one I've been using. Because I think the secondary perk that I got when I'm using is more of a PvE kind of perk rather than PvP.
Yeah.
But it's a good sniper. It's just it's worth getting and having a look at sort of like the perks and what you think would be good for you or worth getting. But definitely try and get at least one with snapshot sights on it, because you can get those quick snipes. You can just like aim, bam, just really quick snipes. That was just definitely snapshot sights. I would say definitely a must for PvP. Definitely a must on it if you're going to use it for PvP. What other weapons are there? Is that all of them?
LMG.
The LMG. I didn't like it first because it was quite slow firing, but I
that's
soon
the
realized
thing.
afterwards that the damage it makes up for it in damage.
Oh yeah.
And the range on it is nuts.
And precision. So you got the.
It's another one of those sort of LMGs that you can almost use as a scout rifle. It's pretty nuts. And obviously it's a solar LMG, so it's worth getting just for that. So you've got your hammerhead for Void, your
Thunderlord or Delirium for Arc.
For Arc, yeah. And if you missed out on Avalanche, obviously this
Avalanche
is
is good
to get a solar LMG, and I'd say it's worth it. Definitely get Feeding Frenzy and Rampage if you can, because that's what I was lucky enough to get one with that drop, and that's probably, I'd say, the best role. Feeding Frenzy and Rampage get it Masterwork for stability, and it's a lot of fun, especially if you're if you've used your Hammerhead and your Delirium quite a bit. It's nice to spice things up every now and again as well, and it's definitely worth having. Maybe not as good as Hammerhead and Delirium in most situations, but it's definitely worth having. I'd say definitely worth getting if you get the time and you can. But like I say, also it's worth just grinding the chest while you can, just to get those 500 Imperial drops if you still need to get Imperials. Because obviously, if you can open the chest maybe 5 or 6 times before it boots you out to orbit, that's 5 or 6 chances of getting 500 Imperials. Because I think there's been times where I've got multiple 500 Imperial drops in one run because I just kept opening the chest. So you can probably get maybe one 500 or maybe 2 if you're lucky per run. So it's definitely worth it for getting Imperials if you've got the thing unlocked on your chalice to get Imperial drops for activities and stuff.
Right.
And I think also Menagerie is a higher chance of them dropping from doing Menagerie, because you can get them dropped from Crucible and Gambit, I think, as well. But I think Menagerie, it has a higher drop rate.
Yeah.
So it's definitely
especially with the booster on. You put on the boost.
Yeah. So it's definitely worth jumping in maybe doing 4 or 5 runs, and then you go back chest maybe 5 or 6 times per run. That's like 20, 25 times opening the chest.
Yeah.
And say, even if just a quarter of those, you get 500 Imperials. That's if you open it 20 times, that's 5 lots of 500 Imperials.
That's way better than
straight
than
there.
none.
Exactly. So definitely worth it if you need it, Imperials, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so tomorrow, next weekly reset, that's going to be fixed. So definitely need to get on that if you haven't already.
Yeah.
Cool. I think that's everything Destiny related.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think for now
that we've covered. Obviously, there's another one to talk about since we've had a 3-week break instead of 2.
Mm-hmm.
So
we're gonna try this bi-weekly. Yeah.
So we've got the Tribute Hall and the Moments of Triumph coming up next week. So we'll probably discuss that in the next episode as well. So, but cool.
Yeah.
So, Super Mario Maker 2. Do you want to?
Yeah.
Start us off.
So I picked this up. I bought a stylus on Amazon, which is it's very key to have that stylus, which us Americans missed out on. Only the Europeans got the version that came with the stylus in the collector's edition. So I got that. Creating levels is really nice and intuitive. It's a little different than the first time around, but everything is kind of logically mapped out this time. With the wheels, you sort of get a radial wheel that you can select different things, enemies, power-ups, whatever it may be. And then once you place it, you can set whether you want the enemy to be big, you want it to have wings or whatever, all the different modifiers, stuff like that. Building levels, building rooms is much easier now. I'm still trying to figure out how to build rooms. That's been my testing phase. The other thing you need to keep in mind is saving your levels while you're building them, and don't let your Switch go to sleep and then let the battery die, because I was building a level over a series of days and I did not save, and I lost half my level when my Switch not only went to sleep, but then powered off because I didn't place it in the charging dock because I left it in my carrying case, and I lost a lot of stuff. So I kind of have to start that level over now. I have like half the level, like the better half is still there, but I'm learning a lot about that. In regards to gameplay, the story mode is really good so far. It's very lengthy. You're rebuilding the castle. You're collecting coins in order to fund the building of the castle. And the levels that you're doing are teaching you different concepts of both sort of building and playing levels. Learning how to combat the different types of enemies, navigating different types of puzzles and stuff, and different level types throughout all the different Mario games. It's a nice crash course if you've never played Mario Maker, or if you've maybe played the older Mario games, and this is kind of a refresher for like how all the different games feel. It's a really good guide through all that stuff and understanding the different power-ups in all the different games and enemies. So the other thing is the co-op and the battle mode stuff. There's sort of a competitive multiplayer where you're sort of, racing each other through the level. Whoever gets to the end first wins. And then there's the co-op not with friends yet, where you're coordinating together, and as long as someone gets to the end, you all win. So yeah, Nintendo made a bit of a boo-boo, but they did say that they are going to patch that later. I don't know when that's supposed to be. I haven't heard any news as to when it is or if it's been put in, but I don't think it has. I don't think it's been patched yet. It would have been a big news thing had it been done already. I think we would have heard of it.
Cool.
The other thing is they did take out the amiibo thing, which is another... they had where you could scan amiibos, and then basically that character would be playable in the game, and you would have different assets. People would make like Zelda-themed levels with Zelda sound effects, and you'd get the Link skin, you'd play through the level as Link, and it was really cool. But yeah, that's out, so it's kind of nice because it was like, well, now you don't have to buy all the stupid amiibos so that you can get all the cool stuff. But it's also like all that content is gone now.
Cool.
Yeah. So those are my thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't played it too much. Still got a lot of level building stuff to do.
Yeah.
Only played it a little bit so far because my copy only turned up yesterday. Well, it turned up the day before yesterday, but I went down to pick it up yesterday. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun so far. Played through Glenn's first level.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun. Actually ended up putting a new world record. Setting a new world record for his course. Beat it like twice. And it was a lot of fun once I got the hang of how the level was supposed to be played and the different kind of like what I need to do and what does what and where I had to go, and sort of the more I played, the more I was sort of finding quicker ways of doing things, and yeah, so I definitely want to get playing some more and get my first level out there. Definitely going to take my time with it. Definitely going to find out, sat through all the tutorials. A lot of it was stuff I already knew, but there was a lot of there was quite a few things in there which I didn't already know, and it was just a nice kind of refresher.
Absolutely.
As well. So definitely gonna flex my level creating muscles because that's my jam. I like creating stuff in games because there's been other games in the past that have like feature where it lets you create your own levels or like stuff, and I've really enjoyed those kinds of games. So like for example, just to pick one from memory that I remember, I think it was Time Splitters 2 had the thing where you could like create your own like level arena kind of thing and have like bots and stuff, and I used to have a lot of fun playing around with that back on when I used to play my PS2, which was yonks ago now. Long time ago, but that was a lot of fun. And there's been other games as well which I've really enjoyed creating things, and also like Far Cry as well. Like
Far Cry was good,
and then I played around with the level creator and that quite a bit. And then when I picked up Far Cry 5 as well, doing the arcade stuff as well, I think I play around with that stuff. I don't actually had to play around with that stuff yet.
Yeah,
but I played
need to.
That other people have made and stuff. And I just really like those kinds of things in games where it's like, here's the game, but here's also the tools that you can use to make your own stuff. Really like that. So that's kind of why I really wanted to pick up Super Mario Maker 2 because I never played the first game.
Yeah.
And so this was a good opportunity for me to get into it, and definitely gonna have a lot of fun putting together a level, which I can share with all of you, lovely people. You can play it and you can tell me what you think.
Yes.
And see if you can get the world record for my track course, even.
Yeah.
So
overall, definitely. I'm thinking positive stuff on Mario Maker.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's fun to watch. It's fun to play, which I've enjoyed watching a lot of streamers play it. Regardless of skill level, it's actually really fun to just watch the game, which can't always be said for every game, but it's really cool. I enjoy that quite a bit. Uriah, welcome to the stream. We're here with the SpaceShack Podcast. We talked a little bit about Destiny. We talked about Super Mario Maker 2. Is there anything else we want to talk about in relation to that game?
Not that I can think of, unless Glenn has any questions, because he's been playing it a lot too.
Yeah. Any impressions you have?
A little group going on at the moment with like sharing levels between each other and stuff. Yeah. So a lot of them to come in the future. So yeah, if anyone has any questions.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun, I think. Okay, so I have some other news that's kind of just random, unrelated bursts, but we had a game release on the 4th of July. Stranger Things 3 is out on Switch, and I don't know, it might be out on pretty much everything, but I know for sure that it's out on Switch and Steam. I think it should be out on the consoles as well. And what this is it's like an isometric action-adventure game, 2D, and it's styled in an 80s retro video game. And apparently it goes through events of the entire series, but people recommend that you do watch season 3 first, as it will completely spoil that, because it does apparently hug the plot pretty well. It's got local co-op, and it seems to have kind of a beat 'em up thing as well as like puzzle solving type stuff. But local co-op seems really cool. It would have been, of course, with every game, we're always like, why is there not online co-op?
Right, yeah.
But yeah, the game can be played single player, or you can also play as all 12 characters, I believe it said, from the series. So you can pick your favorite character and go through there. So I'm excited to check that game out. It's $20 American, as far as I know, and that's kind of an interesting little tidbit that kind of just dropped out of nowhere, and it's getting lots of positive reviews, which is not normally said about movies and TV stuff that get turned into video games. Usually it's a rushed, half-assed project that, you know, is given to a studio, and they're not given enough time to either look at the source material, and either they end up crafting it too close to the source material, or they stray too far away and it pisses everybody off. This seems to be maybe a nice balance in between, and people seem to be really liking it. So I'm actually happy about that. And I'll be excited to check that out myself.
Awesome.
Beyond that, a couple other new games that came out. Judgment, which is a Yakuza spin-off game.
Yeah.
Plays a cop. Yeah, you play as a detective, Private Eye, who was a lawyer. Just setting up the premise there. With what I've played, I've really enjoyed it. I've only played several hours of the game, but I've really enjoyed the open world. The storytelling is great. The voiceovers, I did the English voice acting. It's got a lot of celebrities in the voice acting world.
Worth noting that Aaron means that he selected the English voice acting, not that he actually did the English voice acting.
Yeah. I voice all the characters now. But it is so good. The side quests are good, and there's like sort of a making friends type thing where you just go throughout the open world, and there's different people that you can do quests for and become friends with, and there's supposedly benefits for doing all that kind of stuff. The different fighting styles are really good. I've not really delved into the Yakuza world, but this makes me really want to get into it.
Right. Yeah.
Especially since Yakuza seems to be like sort of like a cousin to Shenmue. It seems to have similar gameplay and story type stuff. So, man, if you're just starving for more Shenmue and you can't wait until November when Shenmue 3 comes out, get some Yakuza. A lot of those games have been on sale. Grab Judgment. That's a PS4 exclusive, unfortunately. But it is a good one, and it comes with a reversible cover as well.
But if you are on PC, worth noting as well that on Steam you can get both Yakuza 0, and actually no, 3 actually you can get.
Yes.
Yakuza 0 and Yakuza Kiwami.
Yes.
And now they've recently added as well Yakuza Kiwami 2 as well.
Mm-hmm.
So there are currently 3 Yakuza games on Steam that you can buy right now.
Yes.
So if you do want to check out the series, those 3 are there for you. I would recommend probably playing them in that order, because obviously that's chronologically how it goes. 0, Kiwami 2. So
yes,
would probably recommend playing them in that order. Obviously it's not the order that they were released in, personally, I like to play games in chronological order. So even if one came out first, I want to play in the order that makes sense in the timeline kind of thing.
Makes it easier than having to piece it together.
But obviously, if you don't have a PS4, worth noting that you've got 3 of the games in the series on Steam. If you do want to check them out.
And there is branching dialogue, conversations. There's investigation scenes where you're sort of using your deductive skills to look for things that most people wouldn't see, and you're conversating with people trying to find out clues, and you're rewarded by asking with extra XP by asking the proper questions that are in context. If you ask kind of a dumb question or something that's kind of opinionated, the game's gonna, be like, oh yeah, that's not gonna give you the bonus XP for that. So I thought that was kind of an interesting system. Because sometimes you want to go with your gut and ask that question, but other times you have to be like, all right, I'm a detective first, so I need to ask the question that gets the most information first, so that I can look at that information and then move from there.
Cool.
Other game, most anticipated game of the year for me is The Sinking City. I have had my eye on this one for ages, and it's finally come out. It's a Epic Store exclusive. It will be coming to Steam in like a year. Ugh. So if you're a Steam fan, that kind of makes you sick.
Bit of a wait.
Yeah, it's a bit of a wait. And I bought the collector's edition, got the extra skins, different costumes that you can wear, and there's different costumes that you unlock from solving different cases and stuff. But yeah, the exclusivity and the 48 hours early access was botched for the first like 8 hours or so. They like forgot to release it on time in the Epic Game Store, so that was a big boo-boo. But like people on Xbox and PS4 were playing it, and I was like freaking out because I was like, I bought it on PC, bought it in the Epic Game Store. I was like, where's my exclusivity? I paid $80, so I was a little freaked out for a bit. But the game is, in my opinion, it's really great. It's by the makers of the Sherlock Holmes games, so you get that good voice acting, you get that good, detective stuff. Everything from the Sherlock Holmes game come over, where you're sort of piecing together these clues and you're creating your own, whether it's biased or not, you're creating your own investigation. You're piecing those clues together in order to come to a conclusion of, is this person guilty? Is this person innocent? Was it an intentional crime? That's kind of what the first case is what, did this guy do this intentional? Was it premeditated murder? Or was it just a case of these events happened and the guy is caught in the middle of it? And you get the choice of, do you want to turn this guy into the authorities, or do you want to just handle it your own way? So you get to do that. This is a game called The Sinking City. It's by the makers of the Sherlock Holmes games. It follows the H.P. Lovecraft style of horror and storytelling. So there's lots of Cthulhu references. There's half fish, half man people, branching dialogue conversations, puzzle solving.
Top half fish.
Top half fish. Deductive reasoning. Lots of... But here's the thing. It does have third-person shooting combat, which so far seems to be pretty good, but I'm starved for ammo because you have to craft ammo. And that is where I'm starting to struggle with, do I like the combat? Because I have like 8 bullets to kill like 20 things, and I'm like, what am I doing here?
Right.
So that's my only nitpick so far, but granted, I figured the more you play the game, you're going to craft more ammo, you're going to upgrade your 3 skill trees, which are based on puzzle solving and XP type stuff, and then you got combat specific stuff like, powering up your guns or whatever. And then you have more like health and other thing based on that. So The Sinking City, Epic Store exclusive. Definitely check it out. It's a beautiful game. It sets up the world really nice. And I'm fully immersed in it. And so far I really love it. And I can't recommend it more. So if that's your kind of thing, it's definitely lived up to the hype, in my opinion. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Anything coming out soon-ish that we haven't talked about before that's worth bringing up, maybe?
Let me see. If I've got a list here.
Have a look. And while we wait, also worth noting that Steam Summer Sale ends tomorrow. And Payday 2 Ultimate Edition is currently super cheap, so if you did want to pick that up, definitely pick that up.
Yes.
Before it goes off sale.
And that's like $5 American for like 7 years of DLC and character packs and weapons. And it's one of the best co-op games out there, in my opinion,
and
I have to say.
I've known about it for a while, but I only picked it up a few days ago, but I've been having a ton of fun with it, and ever since we stopped playing it, I've been itching to play it more. So definitely check it out. And if it seems remotely interesting, definitely worth picking it up because it's super cheap.
Absolutely.
And especially it's a great place for all of, well, I say all the content. There is one DLC pack that doesn't come with the Ultimate Edition, but that's only like an extra like 99. If you're in the UK, it's an extra 99p on top of the price of all the other DLC. So it's not exactly going to break the bank.
Yeah.
But
so $5 for everything.
For the Ultimate Edition, yeah.
Every heist,
which is
every character, weapon other than the one pack, which is cool. That gets you, and it's a lot of content. And Payday 2 is a really great game, so definitely check out the Payday 2 Ultimate Edition. Are we ready to talk upcoming games that I have here on the list? So Stranger Things 3 obviously just came out. The Messenger Picnic Panic DLC is free for those that own the Messenger, which is a sort of Shinobi-inspired Metroidvania ninja side-scroller game. Picnic Panic DLC basically takes your character to sort of a beach setting, and that is coming out July 11th. So something to look forward to there. New boss fights, new area to explore, and all that. Beyond that, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, a Nintendo Switch exclusive, is coming July 19th. So that'll be hitting us pretty soon. That's definitely one to be excited for. In August, we have Control, which is by Remedy, the makers of Max Payne, Alan Wake. Control is very hard to explain, but you're a woman with special abilities. There's sort of, she can fly around. There's like telekinesis type stuff going on. There's shooting. It's definitely got the Max Payne, Alan Wake vibe to it. So there's lots of weird things, mysteries, lots of Twin Peaks inspiration. You're roaming this building and it's psychologically shifting as you play. There's things to explore. It's almost, it feels like a 3D third-person Metroidvania is the best way I could explain it. Is like the world is changing and adapting, and you're fighting these enemies and you're getting abilities, and it's such a unique game that it's like really hard to classify. But I keep my eye on everything that Remedy does, as they're one of my favorite developers, but they're also really pushing the bounds of stuff as far as game creation goes. They're always trying something like really weird and freaky that like no one else is doing. So that's one to keep your eye on.
Cool. And worth noting that now Remedy has the rights to Alan Wake again.
Yes.
Which I noticed a little while ago on Steam.
And they are working on a TV show as well. So there is allegedly a TV show in the works. And so yeah, since they have their own rights, that means Alan Wake 2 is not completely impossible. And with the cult success that Alan Wake has faced years after its release, that's actually a really good thing, that people have caught on to it, and now there's a massive fan base around it. But whether it's enough for them to launch a sequel, that's kind of the stuff that they're weighing on right now. But given that they have the rights, it's not completely unreasonable to suggest that might happen someday.
Cool.
Only other thing I'll mention is Catherine Full Body, September 3rd, I believe, and this is a game that's been re-released a few times. Catherine is a anime type game, story based, but with puzzle concepts. And what Full Body is going to do is introduce even more characters and even more story. So if you've already played it, this will be a big reason to come back. There's also sort of a story mode where you can just kind of skip the puzzles, because the puzzles can be really hard. It can be really overbearing. So there's different ways where either you can skip puzzles, or you could just get rid of them altogether, or you can have lots of things that will aid you throughout the puzzles, because man, once you get to the end, it gets really frustrating and really demanding. And it's such a great story that I'm really glad that they're adapting all these different things. So yeah, it is a great game, and there's a lot of content that they're bringing in. And of course, it's being remastered. It's not super old of a game because I think it came out on PS4 a while back, several years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years now. But the story's good. There's going to be lots of little DLC packs, like the Persona cast will be brought in there as well, which is interesting. So the story will be good. There'll be new characters, new experiences. It'll be highly adaptive to whatever your playstyle is. If you're a puzzle junkie, you're going to love it. If you're a story gamer, you're going to love it. If you struggle with stuff, it seems like the game is just going to be very adaptive to people of all playstyles, and depending on if you have disabilities and stuff like that, which would prevent you from being good at stuff like that. This game is going to be a godsend in that sense.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I think that's pretty much everything we wanted to cover.
Absolutely.
I mean, if anyone has any questions or anything they want to add, feel free.
Yeah, absolutely.
A few minutes.
You got anything for us, chat? Just throw it right in, and we'll answer any remaining questions. But just to wrap everything up, we talked about Destiny 2. We talked about the Menagerie, some of our recommended weapons that you have until tomorrow at reset to loot the chest in Menagerie as many times as possible before that is patched, and then you'll only be able to get in there one time and get one item out of the chest after tomorrow. Heroic Menagerie is good for getting the catalyst for the Izanagi's Burden if you have that weapon and a fully maxed out chalice, fully perfected. We talked about Super Mario Maker 2. We talked about some upcoming games. Talked about the Steam sale a little bit. Highly recommending Payday 2 Ultimate Edition if you have $5 on you. Just go ahead and jump in and do that. Yeah, the chest is being patched tomorrow.
Yep.
So definitely get in there, get all your Menagerie runs. Make sure you have all the guns, because that is a triumph for collecting all the Menagerie gear. Try to get your best rolls if there's a gun that you're curious about and want to get the roll for that gun, the best roll you can. Look up the rune combinations and get in there and get it done. Yeah. So if that's all, I guess we will wrap up here.
Cool. And yeah, like we said earlier on as well, we're going to try and make this every couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So we should have some fresh stuff, hopefully, to talk about in a couple of weeks' time. And we will work on making some improvements, maybe adding some new stuff to the overlay here, and better plan out stuff for the podcast. And obviously, the more we do it, the more we'll sort of find out what works and what doesn't work and stuff. But
absolutely,
this has been fun.
So do give us some meaningful feedback, whether that's here in chat or when we throw the VOD up on YouTube, or just DM us if you have any recommendations of things you'd like us to cover, or things that could be added to the show, or if you have any tips, critiques, etc. Because we'll take a few episodes to figure out what our direction is and the format and all things like that. But so far, starting off pretty good. And so I believe after this, me and Real Space have some plans to jump on some Payday 2 and do some heists for a little bit. So stay tuned for that.
Cool.
So we'll catch you guys next time. This has been the SpaceShack Podcast, and we will catch you next time. You can catch me on Twitch, AaronShack64, and Real Space T on Twitch and Twitter, everywhere. Find us, and you will know when the next episode will be. Catch our content there. Until then, we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.